Previously, Jimeng and Yunxiu headed to the Sovereign Phoenix town to find out why the batches of scouts they sent disappeared without a trace. They discovered that some nasal bugs attacked the scouts, and they soon began to fight the nasal bugs too, until they killed all of them. Shi Pinghong, one of them, and a 4-star martial lord, discovers that the nasal bugs he placed at Soaring Phoenix Town have been killed. He leaves on his mystic cloud-shaking thunder roar to find out who badged in. On getting to the root of the Phoenix Mountains, he sees Yunxiu and Jinmeng, a 9-star martial warrior and 2-star martial lord, respectively, and he is shocked. He was expecting to meet some more powerful guys. Well, he is about to find out who they really are. You know how Yunxiu is, he insults him, and Shi Pinghong gets angry. Yunxiu is delighted to see the mystic cloud-shaking thunder roar as it came just in time he needed it. He tells Jinmeng to handle Shi Pinghong while he faces the beast. Shi Pinghong thinks this is ridiculous as the beast is on the level of a martial king, and Yunxiu is just a kid at the martial warrior level. Jinmeng launches an attack on Shi Pinghong, and they begin to fight. The beast prepares to attack Yunxiu, but sits down and begins cultivating. He plays a song for the beast and uses the Demon Moon technique to control its souls. Meanwhile, Shi Pinghong is shocked at how Jinmeng, a 2-star martial lord, is on par with him, a 4-star martial lord. He turns to call the beast to finish up with Yunxiu quickly and come and help him. However, he is shocked to see Yunxiu patting its head. The beast is his most powerful asset and trump card, into which he has invested his all. And now he wonders why the beast is not responding to his calls. He summons all his power and attacks Jinmeng with the thunder-shaking Jade Flash Strike technique, but Jinmeng blocks it with the Peach Blossom Sword intent, and he is shocked. He wonders how Jinmeng, who is obviously at a lower rank than he is, managed to defeat him. Shi Pinghong continues to call on the beast, but it doesn't answer him as it plays with Yunxiu. Shi Pinghong attempts to escape to get his guys to come to deal with them. However, Jinmeng kills him with his favorite sword technique, Lotus Sword Song. Jinmeng is shocked at his progress in such a short time of following Yunxiu. Yunxiu commends his move, and Jinmeng is surprised that Yunxiu already took care of a 5th-tier beast. They both mount the beast, and it takes them into the mountains. They meet Sung Sidumai and Lai Wenshi on their way. They wonder how Yunxiu, a martial warrior, and Jinmeng, a martial lord, tamed the beast. Lai Yunxiu does his thing again. He insults them. They get angry and launch an attack. Lai Wenshi tells Sung Sidumai to capture the beast, as it is a high-quality restorative that could boost their powers. Sung Sidumai faces the beast and entraps it in her Decennium Bane water ring. Lai Wenshi turns into a demon using the demonification technique, which shocks Yunxiu and Jinmeng. Yunxiu reasons that taking 2 martial kings simultaneously will be difficult, so he gives Jinmeng an origin-blasting pill to enhance his strength. This pill will cause him to lose his ability to fight for a while after the battle, but he has no choice since they are in an extremely dangerous situation. Jinmeng takes the pill and strengthens. He attacks Lai Wenshi and slashes him with his sword, but it doesn't affect him. Lai Wenshi giggles and grows even bigger. He then attacks Jinmeng with the earth-devouring technique, which leaves a major dent in the ground along its path. Yunxiu takes Jinmeng and tells them to retreat as the power difference is too much, and they can't win. However, Lai Wenshi suddenly jumps before them and blocks them. Jinmeng tells Yunxiu to use the same technique he used to stimulate his potential the previous day again, and Yunxiu tells him that it is very dangerous. He could die since he already took the origin-blasting pill. Jinmeng tells him to do it still, as they would die anyway if they don't do anything. Yunxiu uses the golden needle acupuncture on him, and Jinmeng gets more powerful. He then tells him to control his strength so he won't explode. Jinmeng suddenly breaks through the 5 elements realm, which shocks Lai Wenshi and Sung Sidumai. Lai Wenshi attacks again with the Crimson Toad demonic technique, but Jinmeng blocks it with the Lotus Sword Song. Lai Wenshi is surprised and uses the technique again with more power, and this cracks Jinmeng's sword while he tries to block it. Now that Lai Wenshi has seen that his sword is broken, he attempts to attack again, but Jinmeng summons all the broken pieces of his sword using the Cherry Blossoms Rebloom and attacks him with the 10,000 Blooming Blossoms technique. Yunxiu throws the benumbing frost sword he got from Lai Yi to Jinmeng, and Jinmeng begins to attack Lai Wenshi with it. Sung Sidumai is shocked that Yunxiu has the sword and asks him how he got it. Yunxiu speaks to her roughly, and she gets angry but can't attack him, because her trapping arts will be broken, and the beast she entrapped will escape. Jumeng attacks to the point that Lai Wenxi can't bear it again and calls Sun Xuwei for help. Jumeng attempts to deal the final damage, but Sun Xuwei intervenes and saves Lai Wenxi. Sun Xuwei tells Lai Wenxi that they should retreat and return later, but as they try to, the mystic cloud-shaking thunder roar appears behind them. When it almost catches up, Sun Xuwei pushes Lai Wenxi to it, and the beast attacks him. Sun Xuwei begins to rant about how she had always wanted him to die since he became a toad in a bid to get stronger. She then challenges Jumeng to fight, but Yunxiu stops him. Jumeng is now exhausted and places on the beast, telling the beast to take him back to Eternal Peace City. He then heads to the mountain, as this is where the true soul phoenix in the monument of the world god flew, and he will not give up on this treasure. Meanwhile, on the mountain, Qi Zhenzi is getting impatient, and he asks Hu Yaming how long they'd have to wait until the array is activated. Hu Yaming tells him they must wait about 6 more hours. Qi Zhenzi begins to complain that it's getting too long. Some Shunmei comes back running. She reports that Shi Pinghong and Lai Wenxi have been killed, and they're shocked. They get even more surprised when she tells them they were killed by 2 people who are just a martial warrior and a martial king. She further says that the martial warrior tamed the beast, who also boosted the martial lord's strength by using some strange technique to kill Lai Wenxi. She tells them that the martial lord is already severely injured, leaving only the martial warrior and the beast, so she doesn't think they'd dare to climb the mountain. However, Hu Yaming perceives that Yunxiu is already there. Yunxiu, being behind the bush, is surprised that the opponent has a martial grandmaster and 4th-tier refiner, and he wonders where the 100 Battles country got such strong forces. Qi Zhenzi tells him to reveal himself if he wants to live, and Yunxiu steps out. Yunxiu sees the array and immediately recognizes it as the Crimson Bird Divine Flames array. Qi Zhenzi threatens to kill him, but Hu Yaming tells him to spare his life as he has something to ask him. Hu Yaming tells Yunxiu he saw his expression earlier when he saw the array and asks him if he recognizes it. However, Yunxiu acts ignorant, and Hu Yaming asks him who his master is for him to become a 2nd-tier refiner at such a young age. Yunxiu replies that it is Shi Han, the Tianshui Alchemist Association's leader, and Hu Yaming tells him he thought as much. He then offers to take him as his disciple, being a 4th-tier refiner, which Yunxiu sees as ridiculous. A few moments later, the array opens, and a fragment of the phoenix's consciousness flies out. The phoenix pulls them into its consciousness, and Yunxiu realizes that this consciousness is even stronger than his past life's consciousness as a rank 9 alchemist. The phoenix materializes its consciousness, and they are surprised to see the Yanwu continent from ancient times. After a while, they see the true spirit fire phoenix and are shocked that they have found the treasure. Qi Zhenzi suggests they grab it immediately, but the others are wary of him as he might steal it for himself, being the strongest among them all. However, Hu Yaming reminds them that this is not the real world but the fire phoenix's consciousness, where those with strong consciousness have the most power over the space. In this case, he is the strongest. Hu Yaming begins to exert much power, and his colleagues realize they cannot match it. However, Yunxiu tells Hu Yaming to stop what he is doing as it could cause the realm of consciousness to collapse, leading to their death since it must now be weak, having been around for tens of thousands of years. Hu Yaming is intrigued and asks Yunxiu who his master is, as Shi Han can't accomplish such things. The phoenix moves closer to them, and Yunxiu walks toward it to collect the true fire. Qi Zhenzi gets angry and attacks him with his power, but Yunxiu, having a stronger soul, deflects it and redirects it back to him. On seeing this, Hu Yaming is shocked that a mere 2nd-tier refiner can utilize the power of the realm of consciousness. He sees Yunxiu as a threat and attacks him with 1,000 thunderbolts, but Yunxiu disperses them easily. Hu Yaming is shocked that Yunxiu's soul power is stronger than his and wonders who he is. He commands that everyone attacks him with full force, and they summon their various powers. Yunxiu summons a transcendent swan weapon, the constellation impaling sword, and counterattacks their move. He then runs toward the phoenix to collect the true fire. He touches it, and it absorbs him into the true fire. He begins to get burnt, and it seems that he might die, but he refuses to die and quickly ejects his soul from his body, leaving his body to burn. After a while, the phoenix comes after him again and consumes his soul. However, he discovers that his consciousness is still intact even though his soul and body have been destroyed. Within the phoenix's consciousness, he sees the Tanding Mountains, where he died in the past. He realizes he is in the phoenix's memories of when it was still alive. He follows the phoenix and sees the events that happened in the past in the Yanwu continent. He sees how the phoenix fought the black flame disaster in the sky for 7 days and nights in the past before it died. He wonders how his consciousness remains intact and suddenly sees the phoenix's true flame of life. He discovers that he is still inside the divine tablet, and suddenly the flame of life engulfs him, and he gets reborn with his soul and body reconstructed. He discovers he has become a third-tier alchemist and a 3-star martial master. The phoenix's flame wasn't trying to destroy him after all. The true fire was directly absorbed in his soul, and it is too strong for him to fully control until he becomes a peak 9 heaven's martial sovereign again. However, he discovers the fire is serving as protection for his soul. A few moments later, Shizenzi sees him and is shocked that he has become a 3-star martial master. He desires to kill but can't fight him because he is severely injured. He leaves with the others and threatens to find and kill him when he fully recovers. However, Sung Shuimi didn't survive the collapse of the realm. King Wang, Yunsheng, and Dashing arrive with the beast, and they are surprised to see that Yunxiu is still very fine. They are shocked when they discover he has broken through a major realm and is now a 3-star martial master. Yunsheng reasons that Yunxiu must really be Gu Fainang's disciple. Over the next few days, the 800,000 soldiers of the Central Army head to the Shining Gold City and finally defeat the 100 Battles country's army. Yunxiu's father, Lai Changfeng, is set free, and he is surprised to see his son again. King Wang and Dashing confront Lai Changfeng for hiding the truth about his son's talents and abilities. Lai Changfeng is confused, and they tell him that Yunxiu is a 2nd-tier refiner and a 3-star martial master. On hearing this, he is shocked and begins to sob. He had always known his son to be a complete trash who could not cultivate. Meanwhile, Zhirong is treating Jinmeng and has prevented his injuries from worsening, but his chance of survival is still slim. The army finally returns to the capital after a month, which sets the stage for the decisive moment in the struggle for the position of the crown prince. In the next scene, the army is on its way back to the capital, and whenever this happens, the emperor always leads many nobles and officials to welcome them back personally. However, the emperor refused this time, and the second prince, Kinyu, set up the welcome ceremony platform in his stead. Many think that the king might not attend, which could be a grave offense since it would seem like Prince Kinyu privately gathered the military officials to his side. He tells them that his father is not in good health, and he will be leading the welcome ceremony. They all begin to hail him, and after a while, the king arrives. The army soon arrives, and the ceremony begins. One of the student soldiers tells Yunxiu that he might be given the title of a duke due to his immense contributions to the war, but he replies that he will leave Tanshui once Kinyu is crowned. Yunsheng reasons that it could mean his master is also leaving the country, and she becomes determined to follow him wherever he goes. The king soon begins to address them. He tells them he will announce the heir to the throne, and Kinyu quickly interrupts, fearing that his father might crown Qinyang. He asks his father 3 questions to prove that he qualifies to rule over Tanshui. The congregation soon begins to shout that the king should abdicate the throne. One of the officials accuses Kinyu of trying to start a revolution, and Kinyu replies that his father has done so much already and should be taking care of his health now, while his most excellent son takes over the affairs of the country. The official confronts him about who would believe him, and he asks who dares not to. Someone responds in the congregation, and they all see that Lord Kingfin and Lord Shihan have just arrived with some other powerful guys, including a 4th-tier refiner, a martial grandmaster, and one of Yang Di's disciples. Shihan introduces all of them to the king, and everyone is shocked that such powerful guys are in Tanshui all at once. Kinyu fears that his chance of being crowned is now threatened. The king discovers that Kingfin and Shihan have broken through to the 4th-tier refiner realm and is shocked. They tell him that Lord Yunxiu helped them achieve it when they thought they could not progress further. Everyone is surprised that there is such a master in the land, and they wonder who Lord Yunxiu is. After a while, Yunxiu steps out, and everyone is shocked that he is the Lord Yunxiu they are referring to. Lai Chenying, his grandfather, quickly cautions him and apologizes to the king on his behalf, thinking he is just joking around. Yunxiu turns around and prepares to return, but Kingfin and Shihan quickly run to stop him. They affirm that Yunxiu is the person they are referring to as they appreciate him for his guidance. Lai Chunyang is shocked, along with everyone else. Yuanhao refuses to believe and thinks this is ridiculous. Some Zhengzong tells Yuanhao that this is the kid he was referring to that forged his 2nd-tier alchemist badge. Shihan replies that it wasn't forged as he is the one that issued it to him. Some Zhengzong still doesn't believe, and Yangxiu challenges him to a competition in which whoever loses will face inevitable consequences. Yuanhao asks how the competition should start, and Yangxiu suggests that some Zhengzong should choose his area of expertise, and he will take it on. They are shocked and think he is stupid as every alchemist has different specializations which obviously could put him at a disadvantage. However, Yangxiu says he will go with whatever the challenge is. Some Zhengzong states they will be refining third-tier pills. Everyone thinks this is unfair to Yangxiu, as he is only a second-tier refiner, but Yangxiu says they should go on anyway. Some Zhengzong states the type of pill he would be refining and asks for 3 sets of the ingredients required. However, Yangxiu says he would do the same but wants just 1 set. Yuanhao thinks he is crazy as refining a pill with just 1 set is almost impossible. The competition soon begins. Some Zhengzong begins his refinement process, excited to show his refining abilities. However, he turns and sees Yangxiu just sitting and eating. Some Zhengzong gets pissed and tells Yuanhao to mark him as a loss, but Yangxiu says the duration of the competition is 2, and he still has more time. Some Zhengzong continues with the refining. When he is almost done with it, Yangxiu activates the Demon Moon technique without anyone being aware and disperses his soul power, causing the pill to break. Yangxiu mocks him, saying he is back to square one, the same stage he is in. Some Zhengzong starts the process again, and Yuanhao asks Yangxiu if this is how he plans to watch till the end. Yangxiu then stands up and prepares to begin refining. Kingfin offers him his third-tier purple tripod, but he rejects it, saying he doesn't need it, which shocks everyone. He requests 10 high-grade Yuan stones from Yuanhao, who thinks he is just messing around. He begins the refining, and as he continues, Wang Chen, Yang Di's disciple, is shocked. He is familiar with the technique Yangxiu uses. He realizes that he is using the same technique Yang Di uses and is even doing it better than him. He wonders how Yangxiu can do this. Everyone watches in wonder as Yangxiu carries out the refining process, doing what they never imagined possible. Yancheng gets more confident that he has to be Gu Feiyang's disciple. After a while, some Zhengzong successfully refines a peak 8-turn body pill while Yangxiu is still on it. Some Zhengzong celebrates his success while Yangxiu still refines the pill and is now at 7 turns. Yuanhao was surprised that Yangxiu could refine a body pill to 7 turns without using a pill tripod at such a young age. They begin to doubt that Yangxiu can go any further, considering that the flames in the array beneath him have started weakening, and he has used up his soul power to condense the pill and control the fire. Suddenly, Yangxiu uses the Yuan Qi flames to increase the body pill's tier forcibly, and they all get shocked when he reaches 8 turns. Yangxiu reaches the limit of what the true Qi of a 3-star martial master can do, and he decides to test the Phoenix's true fire. Everyone wonders what kind of flames he is using now. After a while, Yangxiu finally refines the pill, and it shocks everyone. Yuanhao is disturbed by how a youth could do what he hasn't been able to figure out for years: the ability to invoke the power of the heavens and use the thunderbolts to condense pills. Yuanhao analyzes the pills both made and discovers that Yangxiu's own is unique. He asks him about it, but Yangxiu tells him he doesn't know either, as this is his first time refining a 3rd-tier pill. Yuanhao declares Yangxiu as the winner, having refined a quasi-4th-tier pill. Some Zhengzong protests and accuses Yuanhao of conspiring with Yangxiu. Yuanhao gets angry and forces him to admit defeat, kneel, and kowtow 3 times as the punishment for losing, as they had discussed since the beginning. Some Zhengzong refuses to kneel, but Yuanhao orders Su Xiang to force him to. Then Yangxiu begins to force him to kowtow using his powers to control him. Being controlled by Yangxiu, some Zhengzong hits his head on the ground 2 times, and while Yangxiu attempts to control him the 3rd time, Lai Chunyang tells him to stop as he was the one who kept dashing alive throughout the years he was poisoned. Yangxiu kicks him off the welcome platform. Yuanhao awards Yangxiu a 3rd-tier badge. Wang Chen commends him and tells him he'd love to learn from him. Yangxiu asks him about Yang Di in a casual manner, and he is shocked. Wang Chen thought he was Zheng Ruyun's disciple, so he should respectfully address Yang Di. Wang Chen tells Yangxiu about a painting Yang Di has been trying to decipher, and he is ready to grant anyone who deciphers it any 1 request of theirs. King Fin tells Nunxio that the painting is still being kept in the imperial palace, as it is a treasure of Tanshui. Nunxio is surprised, wondering when Yang Di began to draw. King Fin further tells him that the painting was made by Gu Fiang in anger, when Yang Di was finding it difficult to grasp some concepts, and since then, Yang Di has been trying to decipher it. Nunxio is surprised, wondering when that happened. Then the king tells him that he always keeps the painting with him to see if he can decipher it. He brings it out, and when Nunxio sees it, he laughs. They all wonder why he is laughing and ask if he has figured it out. He asks them to read the poems on the painting, and when he explains it to them, they discover that Gu Fiang wasn't passing across any ancient art, but was only insulting Yang Di. They are all shocked, and they begin to laugh. Qin Yang offers to bestow Nunxio and his future generations with the status of royalty if he has the privilege of becoming the emperor, and also let him marry Ruxu. Qin Yu quickly says his own too, that he will bestow him with more rewards than his brother would. After a while, Nunxio walks up to the king and tells him to abdicate the throne from Qin Yu. The king is satisfied with this and believes Qin Yu will manage the country properly with Nunxio on his side. The king then tells him to promise to keep Qin Yang alive after Qin Yu ascends the throne. Nunxio agrees, and just as the king tries to announce Qin Yu as the heir to the throne, the Green Wolf battleships appear in the sky, and Qin Yang is excited that his trump card has arrived. Zhao Yushin, the eldest son of the Zhao family in the Duskflame Empire, descends from the battleship. He tells the king that he is also there because the successor is being determined, and he elects Qin Yang as the suitable choice. The king gets offended and says he is not supposed to meddle in the affairs of Tanshui. He then quickly declares Qin Yu as the heir to the throne. Zhao Yushin gets angry and prepares to attack Qin Yu, but Nunxio stops him. He and Wang Chen begin to make fun of him, and Zhao Yushin gets angry and attempts to attack him. However, Yunsheng blocks his attack and protects Nunxio. Zhao Yushin challenges Nunxio to a fight, telling him to stop hiding behind a woman. Nunxio replies that he is shameless for wanting to fight a 3-star martial master, being a 5-star martial lord. Zhao Yushin tells him to kneel and kowtow till he is satisfied, but Nunxio makes fun of him again. Zhao Yushin gets angrier and orders his men to kill Nunxio. Yunsheng launches an attack, but her martial king opponent grabs her blade and numbs her arms. Lai Chenyang, also a martial king, tries to attack the martial king, but the martial king, being more powerful, deflects his attack and sends it to King Wang. King Wang, an 8-star martial king, launches an attack, and the place explodes. Then Yuan Hao orders Su Qiang, a martial brandmaster, to attack. However, Nunxio interrupts and accepts the challenge to fight Zhao Yushin. He says it would take place in 3 months, and Zhao Yushin should choose a location. Nunxing tries to caution him as Zhao Yushin is a 5-star martial lord. However, Nunxio doesn't listen. Zhao Yushin tells him he will make him kneel and kowtow to spare his life, and also says that if Nunxio loses, he will have Yunsheng. Nunxio wonders how his losing or winning relates to having Nunsheng, and Zhao Yushin replies that he can tell from her worry the other time that she likes Nunxio. Yunsheng gets embarrassed and attacks Zhao Yushin, but Su Qiang blocks her and tells her to stop. Zhao Yushin makes his way back to the battleship, and he sees Ruxu. He draws her to himself with his powers, and tells them she will go with him to quench his thirst first. Nunxio gets angry and launches an attack with the Lotus Sword Sun. He evades Zhao Yushin's martial king and heads toward Zhao Yushin to save Ruxu. He takes her from his hand and injures him in the process. Zhao Yushin calls on one of his men, Hong Ling, to attack Nunxio. Hong Ling attacks and captures Nunxio with some fabric, grabbing Ruxu. Nunxio vows to kill Zhao Yushin and his entire family, from the eldest to the youngest, if he lays his hand on Ruxu. Zhao Yushin orders Hong Ling to attack, but he leaves him, and the battleship flies off. Nunxio is pissed with Su Qiang, as he was the only one strong enough to save Ruxu, but chose not to. Nunxio gives his privilege to request anything from Yang Di to Wang Chen, and demands that the Wang family will protect Ruxu by all means for the next 3 months. Everyone is shocked that he is giving such a great privilege away just to save Ruxu. Wang Chen is shocked and immediately heads to get it done. The king tells everyone that the crowning ceremony will begin in 3 days for the new heir. He then orders that they capture Qin Yang and lock him up. Qin Yu has finally achieved his dream. Later, Qin Yu and Bai Mu discuss the situation's development in the country regarding the upcoming crowning ceremony. As they discuss, Qin Yu reveals his concerns about Nunxio. He fears Yangxiu will become so powerful and threaten him in the future, so he thinks of getting rid of him, but he does not have the power or the guts to do so. He tells Bai Mu to use divination, like she used the previous time to find out if he would be a threat in the future. Divination is a secret art that harms one's yuan energy. However, Bai Mu chooses to do it still because she loves him. She begins the divination procedure and soon gets affected by it. She tells Kinyu that she couldn't see anything, and that if she continued, she could die. Bai Mu says that her master once said that some people have souls that were once constellations that are very difficult to see through. She wonders if Yangxiu has a divine fate, and the king overhears and suddenly replies that he doesn't have anything to worry about if Yangxiu really has a divine fate. He appears in a wheelchair being pushed by Kingfin. Kinyu becomes worried that he is screwed since he thought ill of Yangxiu, and Kingfin strongly supports Yangxiu. However, Kingfin tells him not to worry because he won't tell Yangxiu. He adds that if at all he hears, it's something he would just laugh about anyway. He then warns them never to think of going against Yangxiu, or they will face many disasters. After a while, the king tells Kingfin and Bai Mu to excuse them as he wants to have private time with Kinyu. Kinyu leaves the palace some hours later, and Kingfin and Bai Mu meet him. He tells them that the king has died. The next day, Kinyu ascends to the throne and grants the court officials rewards. He grants Yangxiu the title of Prince Wuching and gives him the ownership of the most prosperous city in Tianshui, the Martial Flame City. The court protests against this and accuses Kinyu of abuse of power, but he stands by his decree and silences them. However, Yangxiu goes into seclusion for 7 days. After 7 days, Nunshang, Kingfin, and Lai Chunyang get concerned and decide to check on him, wondering if he is training so much because of his duel with Zhao Yushin. Yangxiu comes out of seclusion as a 4-star martial master. He tells them he is not worried about Zhao Yushin and would just beat him and save Ruxu. He gives Chunying a list of some ingredients to get for his father so he can cultivate, and he gives him another list that contains very rare ingredients he wants to use in curing Jinmeng. He is told about the 1,000 treasures auction coming up the next day, and Yangxiu is surprised and sees it as an opportunity to get some great items. He then tells Kingfin to lend him his refinement room so he can refine his sword. On getting to the Alchemist Association, Shihan is excited to see Yangxiu and drops everything he does to attend to him. In the refinement room, Yangxiu begins to refine his sword. He erases all the arrays and seals and attempts to raise the weapon from 1st tier straight to 3rd tier, which amazes Shihan and Kingfin. After a while, he finishes the refinement, and after Shihan and Kingfin analyze it, they discover that the refinement still needs to be completed. Yangxiu tells them it is an incomplete sword. He originally planned to refine it into a 3rd tier Xuan weapon. However, when he discovers that the 1,000 treasures auction will be held soon, he plans to get some suitable materials and refine it to quasi-4th tier. They are surprised that he refined an incomplete sword, so he can continue later and ask if it won't affect the quality of the sword. He replies that it would have affected it if he wanted to boost it by a tier, but since it is a boost from 3rd tier to quasi-4th tier, it won't. The next day, Yangxiu prepares to head to the Martial Flame City, and Kinyu sees him off to the capital's gates. Kinyu sends a team of state guardians to accompany Yangxiu on his journey. King Wang tells Kinyu to care for Bai Mu since she has decided to follow him. However, Yangxiu starts to talk about her divination. He tells her not to try it rashly on someone powerful as it can backlash and shatter her meridians. He also tells her about one of her sex elders who got crippled in the past because he used divination on someone he shouldn't have. Bai Mu is surprised and wonders how Yangxiu discovered that she used divination on him and how he knows about her sect. Yangxiu soon takes his leave while everyone hails him. On their way, the 2,000 student army crosses them, and Bai Chengfeng requests that he take them along to the Martial Flame City. Yangxiu replies that he is only going because of the 1,000 treasures auction and has no plans to remain there as the city lord. He also tells him that the students have not yet graduated, so they can't follow him. However, Yunxing speaks on their behalf, saying they are better off with him than learning alone in the academy. The students start to celebrate that they will be allowed to follow Yangxiu. Ludo Landuo, also among the students, desires to meet Yangxiu again, but has to keep rushing forward on the path of martial arts. Yangxiu yells at them, still stating that he is only going for the auction and not for war. Chumiang, Dashing, and King Wang then tell him that the students have a lot of potentials and could be trained to become the strongest army in Yanwu, and could be an entity on par with the Heaven Gathering sect. Yuan Xiao sees this as a great idea, as they would form a strong force backing him. He then accepts to lead them and calls them Heaven's Core. At the Martial Flame City's City Lord's residence, Yang Xiao demands the city's financial reports, and the Chief of Records, Wu Zishi, explains how the city's finances are distributed. Yang Xiao discovers that the past city lords have been exploiting the city's resources, and tells his dad they need to track them down and retrieve all the stolen resources. Wu Zishi tries to stop him as the past city lord has powerful backing, but Yang Xiao doesn't listen. After his father leaves on the mission to retrieve all the resources, Yang Xiao makes Wu Zishi the vice city lord and tells him he will handle all the city's affairs except the finance. He then takes his leave and heads for the Thousand Treasures auction. On getting to the Thousand Treasures Tower, they meet a seller selling a second-tier windbreak poisonous weasel egg. Zhao is shocked to see such a rare item, but Yang Xiao says it's just a regular green demon beast egg. The seller just made it look attractive with the crystal box used in displaying it. Yang Xiao also says that the second-tier egg is nearly dead and would benefit Meng Bai if cooked and eaten. Zhao is shocked by Yang Xiao's words, as the demon beast egg is considered worth a whole city. Another buyer bargains the price with the seller, but he refuses to bid it lower. The buyer buys it anyway and says he uses his life savings. Zhao interrupts, saying the vitality of the egg is weakening and it may die within a month. The other buyer is shocked and quickly takes back his money. Zhao further reveals that the purple stripes will show on the egg's surface if he removes the crystal box, signaling that the egg is dying. He says all these as instructed by Yang Xiao. The seller refuses to agree and accuses him of just making it all up, but Zhao shows him his badge as a second-tier refiner. The other buyer leaves angrily and Yang Xiao offers to buy the egg, though knowing it is dying. They negotiate the price, and after much bargaining, Yang Xiao buys the egg at a ridiculous price compared with the original price. He tells Meng Bai that he bought it so he can eat it as its toxins will benefit him, and Meng Bai becomes sad. Yang Xiao then brings out another demon beast egg that he got from Shi Pinghong and gives it to Meng Wu. He tells her he will teach her how to tame the beasts later so she can freely travel in the Duskflame Empire. Soon, they see another seller selling soul fruit. Yang Xiao challenges the seller by asking for the name of the fruit, and the seller admits that he doesn't know. He, however, says that he saw a third-tier scaled python and a third-tier blood-striped tiger fight to the death for it, so he believes it must be a great treasure. Yang Xiao offers to buy the fruit and the teeth of the blood-striped tiger and asks for the price. Yang Xiao assures the seller not to be nervous as they are in the Thousand Treasure, but he tells Yang Xiao that there are many hungry wolves amongst the crowd, ready to take from you if they see you have a lot of wealth and aren't very strong. Yang Xiao also has been observing different eyes staring at him, and he wonders if these are the so-called hungry wolves the seller is referring to. Yang Xiao pays for the items, and Zhao calls his attention to the people staring, but Yang Xiao tells him to ignore them. Meng Bai suddenly comes running. He tells Yang Xiao that Chen Zhen and Han Bai, his friends, seem to be in conflict with someone, and Yang Xiao follows him to check what's happening. Chen Zhen tells him that they found some 100 pattern hydrangeas, but some people came to bully them on it. Yang Xiao reasons that this is the main ingredient of the pills for treating Jimeng, so he asks them where it is, and they tell him that some guys have taken it already. The seller says the bully hasn't paid, and Yang Xiao immediately pays. However, the seller tells him the item is with the bully, and Yang Xiao tells him not to worry as he will get it from himself. Yang Xiao faces the bully and attacks him, making a slash at him with his sword. The bully's men see this and begin to attack Yang Xiao, but he kills some of them instantly. One of the bully's men, a martial lord, attacks and Yang Xiao quickly calls Commander Hong to help him. Commander Hong, the commander of Team 1 of the Martial Flame City's defense, quickly appears and blocks the attack. He wonders how Yang Xiao knew he was around though. The bully identifies himself as Xingyang Ji, the Duskflame Empire Xingyang family's heir. Yang Xiao says he doesn't know who that is, and he tells Commander Hong to face the martial lord while he faces the others. Meanwhile, Man Yu and Ding Linger are watching the fight. Man Yu says he has been following Yang Xiao since he entered the Thousand Treasures auction. He adds that Yang Xiao would have discovered if he hadn't hidden well. He commends Yang Xiao's talents and achievements at such a young age. Man Yu decides to stop the fight as killing Xingyang Ji could cause a lot of trouble for Yang Xiao, since the Xingyang's family ancestors are an elder of the Heaven Gathering sect. Man Yu interrupts the fight and tells Yang Xiao to let Xingyang Ji go. Xiao mentions that the person following him has finally shown himself. Manhwa is shocked and wonders how Xiao noticed him even though he tried to hide. Xiao says he is not ready for a chat and attempts to continue fighting, but Manhwa stops him. Xiao tells him that saving Xingyang means making himself an enemy. Xingyang will still return to attempt to kill him, and one of the ingredients he needs is still in his possession. Xiao prepares to leave, and Manhwa tells him his lady, Dinglinger, wants to speak with him. Dinglinger appears and tells him she will settle it if Xingyang returns. Xingyang returns with Cheng Feiji, from one of the 4 great families in the Duskflame Empire. Dinglinger tries to resolve the issue, but Cheng Feiji demands that Xiao kowtows 10 times, trashes his danchan, chops off his arms, and kneels at the auction's entrance until he decides to spare him. Xiao laughs at his words and uses the cloud-piercing arrows to call for reinforcement. Cheng Feiji mocks him that no matter how many soldiers he calls, there are not enough to handle him and his men. He boasts that he can kill 10,000 regular soldiers without stress. His men also laugh at Xiao and threaten to crack his head open. Soon the student army, now Heaven's Core, arrives with the first unit of the State Guardians, King Wang, Chunyang, and Yunsheng. On seeing them and the student army's killing intent, Cheng Feiji and his men become scared and wonder how such a young lord has so many powerful subordinates. Following Xiao's order, they start to kill everyone. Cheng Feiji starts to threaten them that he is from the Cheng family, a very powerful family in the Duskflame Empire, but nobody listens to him, and the killings continue. Dinglinger tries to stop them, saying that killing Cheng Feiji will bring disaster to the whole of Tianshui. However, Xiao is not bothered and says he doesn't mind erasing the entire Cheng family from the Duskflame Empire. Dinglinger is shocked and wonders who he is. Xiao has become formidable with his powerful backing, but can they handle one of the 4 powerful families of the almighty Duskflame Empire? Let us know if you want the next part in the comments section. Also, remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. See you guys in the next video.